You're watching CN2 News. Two Chester County principals wanted to make a difference during the pandemic. They started Create and Educate LLC to help educators and parents during some tough times. They're focusing on literacy and leadership. CN2's Raelle Jackson has more on how they're helping the community.
Create and Educate, we are a consulting firm that works with educators as well as entrepreneurs. So with the side where we're working with educators, we offer professional development on literacy as well as implicit bias. We work with leaders and leadership teams to help improve schools.
They've been surviving pandemic education by offering tips for school leaders, teachers, and parents.
We really want to see kids through the trajectory, graduating from high school, ready to go to college or to start a career or to go into the military.
Create and Educate has multiple community partners in the area that read books to children weekly, discuss literature, and express their support for the education system. Recently, the owners were featured for Amazon's #1 best-selling book entitled Women Who Lead in Education.
And so we are super, super excited because we're amongst a family of women leaders who are absolutely extraordinary. So it's an honor to have been asked to participate. And then even more of an honor now that the book has gone on sale and it became a #1 bestseller. So you don't have to be a school leader to have leadership qualities.
Collectively, both Tammy Taylor, principal of Great Falls Elementary, and Dr. Sheka Houston, principal of Chester Middle School, have 40 years of service in education. They have learned the need in their community, and they plan to
serve all children in all communities. And one of the things that we enlighten people about in our professional development with literacy is that sometimes it's hard for children to connect to text because they don't see themselves in text. Providing that culturally relevant literature for students, and that's not just African American students, that's all students. Every student at every school should be able to see themselves in a book, in a text, to be able to connect with it.
Surviving pandemic education together in Chester, Raelle Jackson, CN2 News.
Again, their goal is to help connect educators, parents, community members, and authors each week to help better navigate the pandemic. To learn more about
Join Sheka and Tammy on the collaborative. Let's go!
The collaborative.
1, 2, 1, 2.
The collaborative.
What's that time?
On Facebook Tuesday at 7. The collaborative.
The collaborative. Who we have? Come on.
We have our leaders. We have our teachers and our parents. We have our authors. Story time at the end. Solving problems in our education system. Phenomenal women.
Join them on Facebook.
On Facebook Tuesday at 7. The collaborative.
It's that time. You're with Sheka and Tammy.
The collaborative.
Phenomenal ladies. It's educational. Here on the Facebook. The collaborative.
The collaborative.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, Danielle. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you are an educator or a parent or a leader, hello, Curtis. Thank you for joining us. Please make sure you help us spread the word, share the stream on your page, and invite others to join us. We definitely want to spread the information that we're going to be talking about this afternoon with our special guest to several different people. And as you can see, Tammy is not with me today. She is under the weather, so I am solo today. But our special guest, I have brought her up to speed, and she's going to be doing a great job with me this evening. So thank you for being here with us, Danielle. So as you all know,
Absolutely.
thank you. The collaborative, we are an educational show. So we definitely always start off with our This Day in History. And even before we get to that, though, I'm going to, because there was something that we really wanted to bring light to with what happened yesterday, in light of the tragedy of the death of former Miss USA, Miss Chesley Chris. We wanted to send our condolences from the collaborative, from Create and Educate, and just really try to bring some awareness to suicide prevention. One of our authors that we work with through our catalog has given us permission to read a poem that was written in response to her tragic death. So this was a beautiful young lady, of course, who was gone definitely too soon. And the title of the poem is Life's Pressure. Life was too much to handle. Everyone expected so much. The mind sometimes can become scrambled and you feel out of touch. What else do they want from me? I gave them everything I had. Now I just want to be free. Outward smile, but inwardly sad. Life's Pressure, a poem by Mr. Robert L. Horton, who is the author of Fame, Released, and Miscellaneous Pieces. And I'm going to also put up on the screen the number for the National Suicide Prevention Line. This is something that we definitely need help spreading more awareness about. If you know someone who is suffering with depression or just suffering, period, just try to make sure that we're giving people a lifeline and reaching out to people. So again, our condolences to her family. And getting started with on this day in history, this is, of course, the first day of Black History Month. And it is an annual celebration, of course, of African Americans to recognize their central role in U.S. history. This month actually grew out of Negro History Week, which was the brainchild from historian Carter G. Woodson. So this month definitely has been recognized by the United States officially since 1976, and has started to be recognized in other countries like Canada and the United Kingdom as well. So I'm going to introduce our guest, Danielle Towns, who is from Pear Inc. I'm going to read your bio to give you an official introduction. She is an advocate for access, equity, and cultural competence for all students. With over a decade in and out of school time leadership, Danielle has directed higher education programs, national youth servicing nonprofits, and several federally funded projects. As a strategist, Danielle developed a STEM education portfolio for the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, the country's largest youth-serving organization. In this role, she secured and managed corporate foundation and federal agency partnerships, led program design, and served as a STEM subject matter expert. Danielle has led teams for the National Math and Science Initiative in Albany State University and served as an expert in community and stakeholder engagement. In her role at Pear, Danielle will provide strategic vision for marketing and development campaigns and manage a team of ambassadors who are working to build relationships and promote the importance of social and emotional health and quality STEM programming. So thank you again, Danielle, for being with us, and welcome.
Thank you. So happy to be here tonight and connect with your community.
Thank you. So just tell us a little bit about Pear. Tammy and I are really excited about our partnership with your organization and Dr. Gil Noam, and we have given out several books already. The 10 Big Bets that he has written and that you all's professional development is geared around to several school leaders. So for those who may have not received the book or not familiar with Pear, tell us a little bit about Pear.
Absolutely happy to do it, and so excited again to be here tonight. So Pear has been around for a little over 20 years. We were founded in 1999 by Dr. Gil Noam, who now serves as our board chair. Founded at the Harvard Graduate School of Education through a collaboration with Harvard Medical School's Teaching Hospital McLean. So at that time, we were known as Program and After Education and Research. That work really centers, it was the intersection of clinical psychology and youth development. Around 2007, Pear became Pear, Partnerships in Education and Resilience, and we moved primarily to the McLean Hospital to continue the work. Just as recently as 2020, Pear spun off from the Pear Institute to become Pear on its own, a B corporation that still is engaged in a social impact mission to serve youth through a holistic means with continuous data improvement for educators, both in school and out of school time.
Well, that is awesome. And we have talked about Pear, the professional development that you all offered, as well as Dr. Gil Noam's book, The 10 Big Bets, on our Saturday Real Academy. And what we've heard from some of the educators that we're connected with is that right now there's a struggle in some of the schools with behavior of students. So how could Pear and the professional development and the training that you all offer be a solution or to help educators transform, you all's approach? How could it help us transform education?
Sure. So going back to the beginning a little bit, our work is built on an evidence-based framework. It is a developmental process theory that is, again, research-based, simple, but flexible enough to apply to all phases of human development throughout one's life. And so when we think about what's essential to promote positive mental health, there are 4 domains or 4 clover leaves, which is where we get our clover model from. And so the 4 domains are active engagement, which really present 0 to 5. You think about a toddler learning how to walk and becoming aware of their senses. Assertiveness, which is, again, our 6 to 10-year-olds really finding agency, their voice, and wanting to express their desires and wants. Then we move into that tween group where, 11 to 15, they're really interested in belonging and forming relationships with peers and adults. And then 16 and up is where we usually find reflection belief that is most dominant, where young people are thinking about their existence, they are exploring new worlds and really understanding the meaning of life. So although these are not linear stepwise phases, those are the developmental timelines which they're most present. So all that to say that our work is really grounded in being proactive to support these domains from a strength-based approach. So there's a couple of things that we do. We have a holistic student assessment. Holistic student assessment has 4 scales. We measure resiliency, learning and school engagement, relationships, and strengths and difficulties. So imagine having information and data on students at the beginning of the school year to help you plan programming, to help you plan and shape classes, off of strengths, because everything we do at Pear is intended to be proactive and not reactive.
And that's one of the aspects that Tammy and I really loved about you all's approach, because as students are coming back from being quarantined or coming back from school shutdowns, a lot of times you don't know what has transpired at home and what they're dealing with or what types of trauma or things that they've experienced by just losing people due to what is happening with the pandemic. So having that assessment and just being able to get a real gauge on where students are, that is really going to be something that's beneficial to educators. So we really love the assessment piece.
Yeah, and so what's great is we have an implementation model that is sequential, right? So after the assessment, what do you do with the data? You know, we disaggregate it, we look at it by, you know, the aggregate by the whole school and even by student. And that informs the professional relationship we have with the staff, whether that's student support team, whether that's leaderships, whether that's teachers. And then, so after the assessment, and we're able to look at, you know, where strengths and opportunities are for students, we're able to plan with the school staff, with the out of school time summer staff, you know, and provide them coaching and professional development. So we have coaching on the HSA itself. What does it mean? Where are there opportunities? We have professional development that teach school leaders the Clover framework and how to plan from a strength-based approach. And just recently, because, you know, COVID came in like a wrecking ball, we've developed a workshop series on surviving and thriving. You know,
that is awesome.
Yeah, how do you continue to belong and build structure in a virtual environment? You know, students, especially the 6 to 10, 6 to 15, they're missing that social engagement that's so necessary for their mental health and for them to continue to thrive. So we think about 3 things: connection and reconnection in a virtual world, how to strengthen relationships and learning during the pandemic, and then looking forward. What's the big picture? So goals and optimism. And so Dr. Noam has some really great articles about optimism in Psychology Today. It's a wonderful journal. Check that out. But in addition to those other workshops, we have more on understanding mental health. And of course, we have a workshop series on engaging students in a virtual learning environment.
That's awesome. And one of your assessments is also geared towards the staff members. Is that right?
Sure. So I've been talking a lot about our social emotional development sort of strategy, but we also are knee deep, if you will, in STEM program quality. So we have the Common Instrument Suite, both for educators and for students, that really intends to capture for students, you know, what do they know about STEM? What's their interest in STEM careers? What do they know about STEM careers? As you know, what do they know about STEM careers? What kind of access do they have to STEM education? And then on the educator side, it's, you know, how comfortable are you with STEM? What's your level of knowledge? What would you like to learn? And so in capturing those data points, we're able to find a solution so that we are providing equitable opportunities for everyone to participate in STEM, but not leaving teachers who aren't STEM majors behind. And so really making them the facilitator of an experience where they can learn and grow alongside those children. And so in tandem with that, we have something called Dimensions of Success, which is all about STEM program quality. And it has 4 domains that help schools really think about the learning environment, the materials, the facilitator, and to make sure that the STEM experience is just as robust and meaningful as the SED experience.
That's awesome. I love that. The middle school that I was the principal of before I moved on to my new position, we won the STEAM School of Excellence Award. So we were very engulfed in STEM and STEAM. And, you know, I just know how important it is because we're preparing students for the jobs that are going to be, you know, of the future, because the economy and different things are shifting. So, you know, it's really important for them to have that exposure, because a lot of times with STEM and STEAM, you're preparing students for jobs that don't even exist yet.
Yes, that, and I think what we often miss is that STEM education is a workforce strategy. So within STEM education, we build those 21st century skills in students that prepare them to be competitive in a workforce.
Exactly.
Where enabling innovation and creativity. We're teaching them how to communicate. We're teaching them to be critical thinkers, you know? And so those are the competencies that are going to be absolutely necessary for them to be successful in any field. But again, in an emerging markets and in a global market, we have to make sure our students are prepared, and STEM education does just that.
That is awesome. I love it. And one of the other things I saw that you all, and because I'm the MTSS, on the MTSS team for our district, I love that you all have tier 2 strategies or programs in place. And as a lot of districts move to a multi-tiered system of supports, we're looking for ways to support students. So could you talk about some of those tier 2 supports?
Sure. And just so that everyone's on the same page, there's a support need pyramid where tier 1 is promotion, where these are activities that are good for all students. Tier 2 is where we have identified students that may need some targeted programming. And then tier 3 is where we know that they need specific individualized interventions. And so for tier 2, we have what we call clover groups. Clover groups are small groups intended for about 6 and 9 kids at a time, about ages 10 through 15. It's a curricula that provides 12 sessions, about an hour in length, and each one of our groups is aligned to a Clover domain. So our first group is Ready, Set, Action. It's all about, kinesthesiology, getting them to move, getting them to be aware and comfortable of their space, and that aligns to active engagement. Photo justice is all about storytelling. So we know through that assertiveness leaf, where our 6 to 10-year-olds are really finding agency and developing their voice, they're able to capture with images and storytell in the photo justice group. Strong links is for our 11 to 15-year-olds who really, are exposed and really demonstrating that belonging, the need to belong and to connect to peers and groups. And so that's been really great. They form, social connections in that group. And then the last Clover group is Our Stories, where we encourage students to be reflective of not only themselves, but their world. And so these are just 4 of the tier 2 interventions that we have. And again, I want to say that, the Clover model, although it's developmental and follows a timeline, is not linear. So we are encouraged that we are able to introduce and promote other domains during developmental timelines where, you may think another domain may be present, but they are overlapping and they're intersecting. And so we want them to have as much access and promotion of positive mental health structures and as we can.
Okay, that is awesome. And Tammy and I are very excited to partner with you all's organization with our program that we have, Building Relationships with Books, where we use the read aloud and picture books to help teachers to build those relationships during really more of that restorative practice programming during circle time. And we're very excited about that, to have that included as well. So go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to make a plug. We also have virtual advisory for tier 1, just proactive support for our schools and districts that are still on a hybrid approach or totally virtual. We have 24 sessions that are, again, for tier 1 students. They're available for everyone. They're able to connect online, complete some really fun activities, and get that connection and socialization that's being missed due to the lack of in-person instruction. So we have tier 1 and tier 2 supports.
That is awesome. So what are some things that, I didn't mention that you would definitely like everyone to know about Pear and the services that you all offer?
Sure. So I think what I would love folks to know is that our work helps schools and programs across the country to connect research to practice and speak a common language around data for continuous improvement, right? So thinking about the HSA, once students take that, not only are you able to identify students in tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, but you also receive a percentage of your student population, and you are able to identify their strengths in each of the scales. So learning interest, empathy, relationship with peers, perseverance, trust, emotional control, relationship with adults. You can see where they're strong at and where they may not need as much attention. But on the flip side, you also see through that same data set, the percentage of students who have challenges. So who are those students who have, need help with perseverance or academic motivation or critical thinking? And imagine knowing this on day 1, week 1 of the school year, instead of learning this on the job, and it finally clicking during the third quarter.
Right.
So really would love folks to know that the holistic student assessment, which we call the HSA, is a great tool for schools, districts, out of school time service providers, summertime providers to be proactive in their programming. Would also love them to know again that following the HSA, we can break that data down to the student level. So when you want to do targeted interventions, you have that data per student. You can see where their strengths and challenges are in each of the domains: resiliency, relationships, learning, and engagement. We follow our implementation model, right? So after the assessment comes the coaching. We'll work with you after sharing the data to prepare your staff, and that is tailored to your needs. So whether that's coaching on the HSA and which programs to implement, whether that is our Surviving and Thriving workshop series, or whether that is professional development on the Clover model, again, after that, we come up with a plan and we implement. We're hitting the road, right? So is it Clover groups? Is it tier 1? Is it tier 2? What exactly is best? Is the best solution for you? And then at the end of the day, if it's not about data, it doesn't make sense, right? So we see what we've done, we take that work, we track it, we evaluate it, and then we plan for the future, because this is not a one and done deal. Students are in school, grades K through 8, and they're constantly learning, they're constantly growing, and they're constantly evolving. And so having these data points really benefits us from a longitudinal aspect. And so Pear is able to do that when working with schools year over year.
Well, we just love everything that you all are doing, and the fact that we're, as educators, we're looking for lots of solutions for social and emotional learning. And you all have really taken it to the next level with the assessment piece, as well as that data piece, because sometimes when you have other programs that we've seen, they kind of leave you with trying to figure all of that out. So I think it's great that you all offer that coaching alongside the assessment, as well as what to do with the data and the next steps. I think that's going to be very helpful to leaders, as we know many of them are struggling right now with just staffing and making sure that positions are filled, and just making sure all of the needs of the students are met. Yeah. So what you all are offering is will be a great help and a great solution for students and schools and leaders.
Yeah. And I know you're going to mention it in a moment, but I want to give a plug out to Dr. Noam's book, 10 Big Bets, Transforming Education During the Pandemic and Beyond. It gives lots of insights on not bets as you would normally think about them, but assurances that if we think about these 10 ideas as a collective, we'll be able to move forward and put students and educators in a space where they can remain optimistic, learn, and continue to thrive.
Definitely. And that was the next thing on my list. Not only has Dr. Noam graced our platform, he's been on the collaborative with us to talk about the book, but he's also was a guest at our symposium that we had, the Lunch and Learn Preparing for the Shift. So we have heard a lot of the great things that are incorporated in 10 Big Bets. And if you are a school leader or if you're a part of a school leadership team right now, what Tammy and I are doing on our Saturday broadcast at 10:30, we are just taking some of the main points, things that we're hearing a lot of leaders are struggling with right now in schools, and we're kind of reviewing those things to model how you can use the discussion guide that comes along with the book with your staff to go ahead and get those key conversations started that would prepare your staff for things like what Pear has to offer. So if you would like a free copy of the 10 Big Bets by Dr. Gil Noam, if you would visit our website at www.createandeducate.solutions and fill out the contact form. He has written a grant that will allow us to send you the book for free. So you just fill out the form, we get you the book, and we also email you the discussion guide. So the people that have received it so far have given us great feedback about it. And we also send you more information about Pear and their offerings that really coincide very well with the book. Any closing remarks, Danielle?
Yeah, I think just on behalf of Partners in Education and Resilience, want to thank you and Tammy for the work that you're doing, for the opportunity to connect with your community, and really just thank everyone who's in attendance tonight, because it shows the dedication and shows the passion. It shows the enthusiasm that we have for the future coming out of such hard and unprecedented times. I will make my contact information available, but would be, happy to talk shop with you around social emotional development, around STEM program quality, assessments, evaluation, anything that you've heard tonight that you think may help either your staff, students, or community.
That is great, Danielle. Thank you so much again for joining us. And if you on your side can see the chat, what I'm going to do is put, someone asked how can they request the book. So I'm putting in the comments area the website, and then Danielle, if you want to put your contact information there as well, it goes to all of the platforms so that people can reach out.
Will do. Will do.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. And I'm going to get to our closing. We, again, on Saturday, we have our broadcast that we are the Real Academy. That's at 10:30, where we offer our PD. We're a part of the Fantastic Five Professional Learning Network. It starts off at 10 with Principal Sean Hurt on Saturdays. You can tune into his page. Then Tammy and I are at 10:30, the Real Academy. And then we jump over to Principal Kafele's page at 10:55. And then on Sundays, speaking of Unlock the Middle, Mr. Josh Tovar is joining us. Hi, Josh. And Unlock the Middle is Josh, Dean, and Chris on Sundays. So this is just free PD, free help that we are offering leaders, because we know how troublesome things are, and we know that we're definitely all better together. If you visit our website, you can also follow us on all platforms. Again, like and share the broadcast. And we also would like to give a special thank you to the Rock Hill chapter of AARP that has provided us a generous donation that we've decided to help struggling students in the area of math. Another one of our partners, EduMonitor, has provided us great resources for students who are struggling in math for grades pre-K through second grade that are very aligned to the standards, very high quality workbooks. So if you are a parent that you need that help for your child in the area of math, we know how important those fundamentals early skills are. If you would again go to the website and fill out our contact form, just put in there that you are a parent and that you need the free resources that we're providing, we will get you those books out in the mail. And if you all would tune in, our format has changed. We are starting our collaborative the first Tuesday in every month. So tune back in with us next month. In March, we will be featuring women who lead in education. That will be our episode for March. And we will be speaking to some great dynamic women in leadership. So for the rest of the Tuesdays in February, and also even after this show, if you would tune in to some of our Storytime partners, Reading with Mr. LaMotta, Reading with Carrie Lee, Reading with Miss McGriff comes on right after us at 7:45, and Reading with Miss Pat Storytime. And tomorrow is National Read Aloud Day. So we definitely want to make sure that we are emphasizing the importance of the read aloud. There are 6 reasons that read alouds are very impactful. They improve listening skills. They expand vocabulary and spelling. They cut down on screen time, which is a struggle at my house, I'll admit it. It affirms the value of reading. It sparks important conversations. And it also gives you bonding time with students or your children. So that's another reason. Oh, this is Danielle. You're talking to Tammy in the chat, Josh. This is another reason why our Building Relationships with Books program is so effective, because it uses that impact from the read aloud to help teachers build relationships with students. So thank you all again for joining us on the collaborative. Again, this is the first day of Black History Month. So we want you to have a powerful month. But after this month, make sure that the rest of the year turns into self-awareness, and that we are transitioning to Black History 365 days of the year, not just during Black History Month, because we know that cultural awareness and cultural relevant pedagogy and resources being added to schools, all of those things are very important for students to be able to connect and also be able to make the learning relevant for them. Absolutely. So Danielle, thank you again for joining us, and thank you all that tuned in.
Thank you.
Join Sheka and Tammy on the collaborative. Let's go!
The collaborative.
1, 2, 1, 2.
The collaborative.
What's that time?
On Facebook Tuesday at 7. The collaborative.
The collaborative.